Hello my friends, today I'm gonna speak about the game which I really enjoy. For a very long time I found the game for streaming, and it could be my signature game for streaming. That is what I was looking for. Like for example, for many of the streamers before it was World of Warcraft, maybe also PUBG, Fortnite, Counter-Strike and so on. But I decided to stream regularly Arc Raiders. Well, not gonna focus on this game completely, totally 100%, but most of the streams will be on that game. Why? Well, basically, at first, I should play the game which I like, and second, it's good for streaming actually. You can communicate with your audience still. It is not full scale action. Yeah, there are some of the moments of action, but you can spend some of the time checking out the chat. So you have this free time, let's say, in this game, then you're not in a real combat action, then you loot something, you can look at the chat and answer some of the comments, speak about absolutely everything aside from the game. So the game is also like a main topic of the stream, but also it's the background for you to communicate with the audience, which makes it very engaging with your audience. That's why it's so popular on streaming right now on Twitch. I think it's equal to just chatting by the time I'm recording this video. It's absolutely crazy. This game is also very popular on Steam. 2 million copies were sold, and I would compare it with, for example, Stalker, where you also have those kind of them silent moments. Then you just walk, you loot, you discover, you research, and here it's the same but in closer environment. Also, it's more interactive because there are some of the other players, those arcs, robots, bots flying elsewhere. Well, not just flying, but they're walking, jumping, and it's sometimes even hard to compete with them, especially at the very beginning with the default gear, free loadout, which people sometimes choose to play. I choose it most of the times because in this case you do not risk losing your equipment. And it's also very interesting aspect, by the way, of this game that by dying you sacrifice your loot. It's not like Battlefield 6 or something, then you die, you just respawn in a couple of seconds and continue the fight. Here, if you die, oh, you can lose absolutely everything. Or in case of the custom loadout, you may save one item in a safe pocket, that's it. So this game has a really nice dynamics. It also has this crafting side. I'm still new in this game and I don't know lots of the things out there with mechanics, but it's pretty much understandable in general. Also the world, all of those maps, how they're done, well, it's piece of art actually. It's very rare then you see those kind of the maps and this quality of the graphics just for extraction shooter. And this game was designed on Unreal Engine 5. That surprised me actually because those games are usually not so smooth. They are kind of glitchy, but this game runs really nice. It's similar to Stellar Blade, which I played. No lagging, everything is working perfect. Yes, I have the top-notch hardware, it's RTX 5090, 128 gigabytes of RAM and up-to-date processor, so my gear is pretty much good for any sort of the game, but for example, recent Borderlands 4, I guess, even my gear is not enough to run the game at the high specs. But the Arc Raiders is pretty much good optimized for middle range class of the gear. It would be also very perfect. That's why it's so popular among gamers. And about this in-game environment, about the style of how the characters are being created, it reminds me something similar between Stalker, Terminator, and I would say Star Wars, because the suits are kind of similar to what we see in the classical trilogy of the Star Wars. Series 4, 5, and 6, the suits are pretty much similar. Well, at least I have this sort of the feeling. The general idea of the game that people lost the war against machines on the surface and they're forced to live underground. Sometimes those Arc Raiders, they're going up to the surface to fight against those robots, to loot and fight against each other. So there is PvE, so player versus environment aspect of the game. Then you have to fight against those orcs, have to loot something, find the escape points. Also, there's the time ticking for every escape points. For some of them, you should have the key, and at the end, you have just a single elevator. So the environment aspect is actually kind of difficult. But PvP makes it even more trickier because you can engage against other players. You can shoot them, you can make friends, and then you make friends. It doesn't guarantee that those will not turn against you at the worst period of time than you do not expect it. I watched some of the reviews and some of the streamers, they do it for purpose. They help others to loot, they help others also to fight against orcs, find some hidden things, but later on at the most unexpected time, they KA their fellas and they are laughing about it, which also uncovers psychological or philosophical factors of our society. Well, I don't do that personally. Yeah, it's kind of interesting thing to try, but I won't do so because I have a different character. I cannot speak and chat with people, helping them to loot, and at the worst moment unalive their characters to get their loot. No, it's so low as for me. I cannot play like that, but I see others, they do it, especially streamers. They're laughing about it, and yeah. Well, maybe I'm too soft for this game, but we should expect that turnaround from the other players at any moment, which makes it even more spicier, I would say. Yeah, just an example for you, that's the cut from the game. Someone is playing it, not me. So they both go in, yeah, they were friends before, they go to the city, and at the very last moment unalived. But there is the other guy who saw what happened, and he unalived the attacker. So yeah, that's about this game. Where else can you see this, some sort of the revenge against those people who betrayed you? At the same time, you have fantastic maps, those arcs equipped with artificial intelligence. They're really sneaking and searching for you. They are kind of hard to compete. This game is very challenging, and it has so many multiple of the aspects that it became so popular. They're just minor things I don't like about this game. I would like to see more character customization, because the default faces, default everything, it's pretty much standard, and seeing multiple of the players playing the same characters, it's kind of not so good. Also, I do not like weapons design. I think that they should look more real, not like made from some sort of the junk parts. Yeah, understand the philosophy of the game, that everything looks like it is made out of junk there. But after all, weapons are weapons, and sometimes it looks just silly. But the mechanics of the shooting, I would say it's the best out there from the third-person shooter. Yeah, it's not first person, it's the third person. You see your character from the side. Well, I like the mechanics of Pew Pew. It's great. I think the best one is still in Stalker 2. It's the first person, I understand, and there are some of the mechanics of the weapons which is outstanding. For the second place from the games I played, I would put Battlefield 6. I also really like the mechanics, and this one I would put on the third place, even though it's the third viewpoint point of view shooter. If we may call it even a shooter, because it's some sort of the extraction adventure game, I would call it like that. Also, it's the unique part of this game that nothing like that was designed before. Yeah, Escape from Tarkov, but first of all, it's the shooter. And here, with those maps, with those quests and opportunities to cooperate with players, I would say that definitely it's some sort of the adventure, extraction, shooter game, something like that. And because I enjoy the atmosphere of the game, the style, I would like to see some sort of the background, which only single player game potentially may give, some sort of the story behind everything of what is happening. So I hope that Arc Raiders will not stay just PvPVE shooter. I just hope that they will release some sort of the story game, single player with multiple locations, with those arcs, enemies, other, I call them stalkers, Arc Raiders, let's call them, okay, like in the game. I guess the story may attract even more users to play multiplayer, which is, for this time, I think is one of the best multiplayer out there in the game industry. because it may give you so many varieties of how you may cooperate or not cooperate with other players. Well, this is a very interesting game overall. It really has this adventure spirit, and that's why people like to play this game. This is fantastic, amazing game. But whether it could be the game of the year, well, as for me, PvP PvE shooter adventure, even though it's very nice game, it's a very great game, I wouldn't put it to that category to be nominated even for the best game of the year, because it is in lack of story. Again, it is just my opinion. If we speak about game dynamics, characters, maps, it is fantastic. Everything around it is great. And I would put it on Game of the Year, of course, if it had some of the single player story behind it. Because without the story, without background, this game is still in lack of the soul. Players are creating it, you know? Community, everything is fun, everything is sad, also could be, yeah, if there are some of the betrayals. But in general, I feel that this game is in lack of this background story. That's why I wouldn't say that for me personally it is a game of the year, but obviously Commission will decide. Our creators, of course, will be nominated for multiple of the rewards, and they will get many of those. As for me, this game is super, but I wouldn't compare it to Expedition 33 at all, because it's completely different story, as I mentioned, and my guess that Expedition will win the game of the year this year. I didn't play it myself, I saw how other people played it. For me personally, well, I just don't like this fight mechanics. Maybe I should try to love it or something like that, but I don't want to download Expedition 33, but I think it will win that award. So guys, it's all what I want to say about that game. See you on streams on Twitch every day and on YouTube also every day. I stream for 2 of the platforms simultaneously. All of the links in the video description just below. Stay awesome. Ciao.